Hey everybody, welcome to Top 5 Friday. No, that's not how I start this video. Oh dear. Hey everybody, Bonehead for the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Top 5 Friday. On a Friday we get together and we have a look at the top 5, something normally to do with Blood Bowl, and we are in full Blood Bowl mode again. So, in the world of Blood Bowl, there are a whole bunch of teams. We are blessed. We are pushing 30 teams now in Blood Bowl. And some of the most recent ones have been very nice models. But I got the pleasure of being at a very big tournament of the weekend, and I got to look at a bunch of teams. And on the Saturday night, I got to play some sevens. And when I was playing sevens, I got to play with some of the first teams from Games Workshop in this era, the 2016 edition teams. And man, it got me thinking, some of these teams need a bit of an update. Now, we've talked about this on some of the episodes of the podcast about what will Games Workshop do when they complete the Team of Legends. Will they go back and start again? And we kind of assumed they wouldn't. But I actually think they need to. I'm not saying that they need to review the roster for humans or whatever. But, you know, that might be a team that features on the top 5 here of teams that need an update. And coming in at number 5, it's not humans. Let's get rid of that image there. Boop. It is actually Elven Union. So Elven Union, look, this is a really tough one. And it's an interesting place to start for this, because this is not about the team, this is not about the stats, not about the roster, it's about the models. So Games Workshop arguably make the best models out there, the best miniatures out there. When it comes to sculpting, your mileage may vary. There are definitely arguments to be made that there are other sculpts out there that are potentially better. When it comes to actually making model kits, Games Workshop, I think, make the best. All right. And the Elven Union one is a really interesting team because I do think it needs updating, and I do think it needs doing again. And I think it genuinely just needs doing again. The sculpting is fine. Like, it's actually really good. It's actually quite a nice team. There's a couple of really interesting problems with it though that I think if Games Workshop did it again, I don't think they'd do this. Because what we've seen over the last few releases is a bunch of creative teams with interchangeable pieces, and they've done a really good job of like highlighting positionals, and they've had a really good time and a really good stretch of some really good models. Elven Union, they nailed the aesthetic. I mean, needs more mohawks, but what doesn't? But there's a couple of things. The first is the scale. The Wood Elf team, a little bit small. The Elven Union team, just a little too big. They are bigger than everything else. And that scale inconsistency is really strange. And that's fine. If you've got a team, that is absolutely fine. But they fall foul to a bigger issue here, which is why I think the team needs redoing. Which is the Blitzer. This is the thing that I still do not understand. And I think you will see them in there. I think that's the Elven Union team that Ben painted up for us as part of the College of Light. And I'm like, which one's the Blitzer? Because all the models are very dynamically posed, potentially too dynamically posed, that when you're playing with them, you're like, I don't know which one the Blitzer is. I think this is the Blitzer. Like, if you took one of those models, you would go, this is the Blitzer, this is the lineman, and it's a really challenging one. Now, the team also falls foul of something that we're going to talk about 4 more times, which is if you want 4 catchers, you're going to have 4 catchers doing exactly the same thing, which is a problem. But it's an even bigger problem when the rest of the players on the team are so interchangeable, you don't know who is who. So for me, number 5 is Elven Union. Number 4, it's the Orc team. So I love the Orc team. I think it's really good fun. The Orc roster's brilliant, and especially now the big ones have got movement 5. Very good. Cool. I got to run them in 7s, actually. This is the team that inspired this top 5 because I got to play with Milton's Orcs, but I played Stevie at 7s on Saturday night at Beachhead. It was wicked fun. But I was looking at the Orc models and I was like, whoo-wee, there's some undercuts here. So Orcs are, I think, the perfect example of a team that needs updating. Again, not the roster. I think the roster for Orcs is pretty much perfect. The only thing you've got, the only challenge you've got is with yep, do you know what? Don't worry about the chat. Oh, tierings in tournaments, that's it. Yeah, whether they're tier 2 or not. If you play them in league, it doesn't matter. Orcs have a very strong identity. They're a really good team. They're a really good on-the-ground team, and it's wicked. They work brilliantly. The problem with the Orc team is that you've got 4 big uns and you've got 4 blitzers, and they all look exactly the same. They are just chunging in exactly the same pose, which is cool because it kind of, when you line them up at the beginning of the game, it looks like they're doing like that New Zealand hacker dance thing, and I'm like, hey, cool, dwarves, you know, the Orcs are dancing. That's magic. But I think this is a team. This is a team that is absolutely prime for a new box for Games Workshop, because Games Workshop dropped the I've tidied the Black Orc team. I love the Black Orc team. There's a couple of bits you can change on them. So you've got 6 models, you've got 6 Black Orcs, and 6 different models, basically. They're in different poses, they've got slightly different heads, whatever. It really works. When it comes to the Orc team for Blood Bowl, they're all in the same position. Now, this is a tough one because it was the first team, but it was one of the 2 first teams that dropped in 2016. So as far as models go, that's nearly, it's pushing 10 years now for Games Workshop, which is a very long time in the world of Games Workshop models. And if this had been a Space Marine Lieutenant, we would have had 19 different versions of it by now. I mean, look at Stormcast. These guys must have landed about the time as Stormcast landed, and Stormcast have been reforged a couple different times now. This is just a really tough one, where if they did this team again, you'd have way less undercuts because you're painting them up, and there's some stuff, like, because of the way plastic molding works, but there's just no detail at all. It's like looking inside Ken's shorts. It's just weird. I don't think you'd have that anymore. Now, Games Workshop's model kits can be a bit of a fuddle, and boy howdy, you don't want to build them while you're too tired. So if you've got a child, hold off or find somebody like Ben and Milton to build your gnomes for you. It's a lovely team. It looks really cool, and it's a great team to start with in Blood Bowl. But man, if they redid the models, I think they'd make an absolute killing. Number 3, it's Skaven. Now, I actually think the Skaven team looks really good. So this is featuring in the top 5 out of pure bias. And if you're looking outside in the world of, politics or anything like that, you should be used to it. Skaven are on this list because I love Skaven. Now, there's a couple of legitimate reasons, and I will bring them to you now. This is how many gutter runners can be on a Skaven team. This is how many gutter runners should be on a Skaven team. This is how many gutter runners you're going to need on your Skaven team. And this is the amount of duplication that you're going to have. Fine, let's assume you got the 4-drop booster kit. Very, very, very cool. But realistically, you're going to have 4 gutter runners that all look exactly the same. You're going to have 2 very dynamic blitzers that look exactly the same. And this team also falls afoul of the undercut issue from plastic molding. It's a simple push-fit team, which I really love. But also the downside of that is you end up with, the models are fine, but there's that area, there's that planes of undercutting where there's just no detail, and it looks like a board game team. It looks like a board game series of models, which is fine. I love Skaven. Now, that's the first bit, right? 4 gutter runners, 2 blitzers. It looks quite samey. The other thing is that this team is popular, and it's also the exact same set of models that is used in the Underworld team. So this is 2 teams worth of models, basically. And that's why I think, yes, I know you're sitting there going, well, of course you want new Skaven models. I really do want Skaven models. I want a new Skaven team, and then I want a Clan Moors team, and then I want a Clan Moulder team, and then I want an Eshin team, and then I want Moors, Moulder, Eshin, Scryer. Yeah, I do. Like, I want a Rat Ogre team. I want a team with extra gutter runners. Just make me a Skaven version of Blood Bowl with all the teams. That'd be wicked. But the models are fine. The tails are frustrating, but that is a Skaven thing. It's just such an important kit because you've got Underworld, which are still performing brilliantly, and you've got Skaven, which are still so popular that actually those models, again, from a Games Workshop point of view, they would sell. But from a modelling point of view, it would be cool not to have to paint 5 identical gutter runners if you've got an Underworld team and a Skaven team. Number 2, it is the human team. So we've already seen the orc team from the 2016 box. Now we're going to go to the humans. And the reason this is this high on the list is because the human team is such an important team in Blood Bowl, and it's really challenging. The new edition, this one here, the 2020 edition, which is the newest edition, comes with Imperial Nobility and Black Orcs. When that box set first dropped, I thought that's quite a complicated starter kit. We want to recommend to people that a good team to start with is orcs and humans. We've already talked about orcs, and humans is the other one. The kit is not bad per se. The sculpts are individually not bad at all. But because the team is so important, this is why I think it needs an update. Like, it's old now. It's old. It's nearly 10 years old. The sculpts are cool, they're fine, it's got less undercuts than some of the other ones on there, but it is such an important team for Blood Bowl. You want the human team to be the best one for someone to buy, because it is the first stop, right? It's one of the first stops. If you want to get somebody into the game, it's like, what do I relate to? I relate to being human, I relate to seeing American football being played by humans, I'll get a human team. Is it a good team to start with? Yes, possibly the best. So actually having an updated, better sculpted team. Look at the vampire team, the gnome team. They've done some beautiful sculpts and some really good work, just popping out some great models. Wouldn't it be wonderful for them to be like, the next team we're going to do, we're going to redo the human model kit. We're just going to redo it, and we'll give you some alternate builds or something. So it makes it worthwhile getting 2 boxes of humans so you can have all 4 of your blitzers, because in this team you can use 4 throwers, or I don't know what they're going to do, but like that could be a cool way to do it. Or you have the parts interchangeable, and this is the thing that I think is so cool with what they've done recently, is they're just making the model kits, they're just getting the most out of them, and I think it's brilliant. So number 2 for me is the human team. It is the most important team in Blood Bowl from a models point of view, and I'm bored of having 4 blitzers doing this. Number 1, the team that I think in Blood Bowl needs the update the most is the dwarf team. Oh my goodness, the dwarf team. Right, I will start by saying there is nothing wrong with any of these teams. They're all quite nice. The dwarf team is quite nice. It encapsulates the theme of dwarves brilliantly. But I think of all of the teams that we've looked at today, it has the most egregious undercuts. The blitzer, runner, and lineman differentiation is not brilliant, but it's enough for you to be able to kind of pick them up and tell them apart. The Troll Slayers, one of them is a brilliant sculpt and a really fun pose. Having 2 identical Troll Slayers flying around on their beards is a questionable design philosophy. So the way the dwarf team looks, it's pretty cool. They could do something better. They could absolutely positively do something better with the way the models look. We've seen 2 dozen teams since that team came out there's just really nice models. The dwarf team is not a team made up of nice models. The dwarf roster does a beautiful job of being the dwarf roster. It is the Marmite of Blood Bowl, and it needs to be there. But this is a team that has got not the ugliest, but the most basic sculpts, I think, with the exception of the Troll Slayer, which is, because it's so good, such a tough duplication. It features in the OWA team as well, so it has the same problem as the Skaven team. And oh my god, what the nuffle is with, and this is why I went straight to number 1 on the list. Yes, there are other teams that have got annoying pieces, like the Dark Elf Thumb. Why are we doing the Dark Elf Thumb separate? What did we do to you? Was it that we gave you money? Because I'm sorry if that's bad. Why? The little blocks in the back of the dwarf. The little number blocks are a separate piece, and it is just the world's worst Lego. I don't understand. The sculpts are fine, but they are not better than fine, with the exception of the Troll Slayer, which is too good, and then you've got a duplication. I think he's got a slightly different hat or something, but it really isn't enough. And then you've got these stupid, I'm actually genuinely trying not to swear at this point, these stupid things you stick in the back and it doesn't quite go. Oh, just why? Just absolutely flipping why? If you're going to make a complex model, make it interchangeable. Let's have a team that I can customize a little bit, because dwarfs are around. They are sticking around. They are important. They go into the OWA team as well. Like, just come on. Like, that team needs another set of models. And I think the dwarf team is one of the first 4 that landed in 2016 as well. So it's got the same undercut issues, it's got the same duplication issues. It's just a bit uninspiring. And Games Workshop make the best models out there for Blood Bowl, and probably for most things. So update the dwarf team. All right, that's my top 5 teams that need updating. If there's one on the list that you think shouldn't be there, or there is something else that you think needs to be updated even more, please drop it down below. But really, it's just, these are all good teams in Blood Bowl. The rosters are perfect. They don't need changing. Just, we want better models. Like, I think I speak for everybody when it comes to Blood Bowl and supporting Blood Bowl with Games Workshop. You make us nice models, we'll buy them, because they're great models. Like the gnome team. I know there's hundreds, if not thousands of you who've bought the gnome team and probably won't ever play gnomes, but it's cool because there's like a little badger, there's like a little honk man. It's wicked fun. Like, it's great stuff. We want more models. Just, you know, it's okay to go back and redo these teams in my book, because I think you'd sell them, which would make your shareholders happy, and we'd get better models, which would make us as Blood Bowlers happy. Anyway, I'm going to go and apparently talk to someone about how upset I am putting little Lego blocks in the back of dwarfs. Yeah. Anyway, thanks very much for joining us. We'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy gluing stupid pieces of plastic into the back of stupid dwarves.